I'm Johanna Winters. I'm the 2022-23 Grantwood Fellow in Printmaking. I make work somewhere in between puppetry and printmaking. I am trained as a printmaker. That's what my Master of Fine Arts is in. But while I was in graduate school for printmaking, I became interested in how to feel more vulnerable in the work, or how to make something that didn't feel as safe. To me, my prints had sort of become a little boring.
Walk right in, sit right down. Daddy, let your mind roll on. Walk right in, sit right down. Daddy, let your mind roll on.
The most recent work that I've made while a Grantwood Fellow has been about a puppet protagonist who's performing her sensuality for the camera, and I perform as her sort of embodied chaperone. The puppets are especially compelling because they're just human-like enough that we see something recognizable in them, but then at the same time, as they begin to move or to gesture, that it's sort of repulsive, so you want to look away. And as someone who is interested in making work about embarrassment and shame and feeling discomfort in a human body, the puppet form is sort of a perfect vehicle for that, or kind of this proxy for all of those feelings. In the videos, oftentimes you'll see from her perspective looking down at her feet or her hands, and sometimes they're human flesh hands and sometimes they're puppet flesh hands. In terms of formal qualities, I'm interested in that confusion of what is the source of this body, and is it the same body, or are there two sources in this one space? And I like that there's not a definite answer. In addition to making these videos, I'm also making prints that are considered sort of self-portraits of her, how she sees herself. Printmaking was my first love of the studio. That's kind of where I developed the desire to be an artist, and I think there's something really process-oriented and based on this endurance effort to commit to an image. Printmaking is a lot about troubleshooting and subjecting a beautiful drawing to a whole bunch of really precarious processes and hoping that it turns out in the end. Having that kind of love of making has probably informed the way that I make three-dimensional sculptures and videos as well, even though it's not a one-to-one translation of I draw the puppet, I make a print of the puppet, and then I make a sculpture of the puppet. I was familiar with Grantwood's American Gothic painting, of course, but since coming to Iowa City, I've learned a lot more about sort of the scope of his life as an artist and an educator, and I have really begun to appreciate the way that he was making work about the familiar, but stylizing it and sort of portraying it in this surreal, high-key way is similar to how I think about these puppets that I'm making that are similar to a human body, but they're also an exaggerated human-adjacent form. This year has offered the opportunity to slow down a little bit and have a lighter teaching load, which has been amazing. I think I've been a better teacher because of it. The fellowship has been sort of the force behind all of those things, this gift of time and space, and then the bonus of happening to land in Iowa City, where I met a whole community of people who were also making interesting things and wanted to talk about ideas, and that's been one of the most rewarding parts about this year.